You're watching the New Stack Makers, a podcast for people who develop, deploy, and manage at-scale software. For more information and articles about at-scale technologies, please visit thenewstack.io. Now enjoy the show.
Since its inception, Amazon Web Services, or AWS, has been the best place for customers to build and run open source software in the cloud. AWS is proud to support open source projects, foundations, and partners.
Hello, and welcome to another on-the-road episode of the New Stack Makers. I'm your host, Heather Joslin, Editor-in-Chief of the New Stack, and today we're going to talk about Jupyter AI V3 here at JupyterCon in San Diego, and we've got two gentlemen here who are going to help us unpack this topic and learn more about it. We have David Q, who is on the Jupyter Security Council and software engineer at AWS. Hi, David.
Hello.
And we have Piyush Jain, who is principal software development engineer at AWS. Hi, hello there.
Hello.
Hello. So let's talk about we dive into this topic, Jupyter AI. First of all, I have a question. What are AI personas?
AI personas are named agents that are @mentionable in a chat. So you can think of a chat application like Slack, Discord, or GitHub, where you can @mention a user to ping them to notify them. We've taken that same concept and applied it to AI assistants within JupyterLab. So unlike many other AI extensions out there, Jupyter AI uniquely allows for multiple named agents, which are AI personas, to be available inside of every chat. So this allows a user to actually select which agents they want to invoke. So they can have multiple. They can have a Claude Code AI persona. They can have a JupyterNote persona. They can have an OpenAI Codex persona. And they can mention them to perform tasks that assist them with their development needs. Yeah.
Can developers build their own AI personas? Or
Yes, they can. And so there are two ways to do that. We have something called local personas, where you can just build a persona within JupyterLab in a specific location within JupyterLab, and then you can load it live in your chat by a / command called refresh personas. And so you can basically experiment with that persona while you're building it. The second way to build that is building it as a package and then distributing it so that other developers and users can also install and use that.
so it can be replicable.
It can be replicable. Other users and other developers can also use it just by a pip install as any other Python package.
Okay. Now you're giving a talk. Is it today or tomorrow?
We actually just gave our talk 1 hour ago. We just got lunch and then we hopped on this interview. Yeah,
that's great. You mentioned that a major part of Jupyter AI version 3's development was splitting up the code base into multiple smaller packages. Why would you want to do that, and how do you do that?
Yeah, that's a great question. I mean, both of them are big questions, right? So let's dive into the why first.
Okay.
What we had found was that what we had learned from Jupyter AI V2, the previous major version, was that contributors were finding it difficult to understand the code base completely because it was so massive. So everything was bundled under this GitHub repo called Jupyter AI, and contributors were having a really hard time understanding the code base, seeing what parts do perform what functions. And there were also use cases reported by especially people working at large enterprises, where they needed to use Jupyter AI, but also customize it in their own internal fashion. And what we eventually settled on was we found that there was a need to split this into multiple packages, so users and administrators can pick which packages they want to install in their environment. So a great example is like some people want to use Jupyter AI, but they do not want to use JupyterNote, which is the default AI persona that we ship. And now, like previously, that would be a very complex configuration task. Now, they just uninstall the Jupyter AI JupyterNote package, and that persona is gone. And they can now install a new AI persona. Or consider a use case where an enterprise wants to have a custom message router, which is one of these like core layers within the stack. They can uninstall our router package and provide their own. As for how we did it, a lot of hard work, sweat, and tears. But we managed to push through within a month and get everything sorted out, split out. And it was a lot of rapid engineering.
Okay.
Yeah. But nothing we can't manage. Yeah.
Cool. Now, does maybe Piyush can take this? Does Jupyter AI support collaboration between users? And if so, how does that work?
So we have two kinds of collaboration available within Jupyter AI. So multiple users can work on Jupyter and collaborate within themselves. So there's chat between multiple users, and they can also chat with different agents. And so each user will see the interactions that happen within that chat interaction.
You also mentioned the team has built an enhanced version of RTC in JupyterLab. How will that make collaboration better in Jupyter and Jupyter AI?
Yeah, so we built a new package called Jupyter Server Documents, which moved a lot of the processing of the messages to the back end of Jupyter. And so that will help build more collaborative environments, because initially in the earlier version of Jupyter Collaboration, a lot of that was happening as a round robin. It was happening from the front end to the back end, then back end kind of broadcasting it to all the other users. And so we have sort of moved the state of the document or the chat or notebook to the backend with Jupyter Server Documents. And so then there's only one source of truth in the backend that sort of happens to distribute the state to all the other users. And so that has made collaboration much easier with Jupyter Server Documents. And it's also more reliable because there's single truth there in terms of the server document having all the state.
What Jupyter AI seems to install and start much quicker with version 3.
Yes.
Was there anything specific that was improved for this version compared to version 2?
Yes. So one of the big optimizations we were looking to make with the new release of Jupyter AI V3 was improving the import time. So one of the interesting characteristics of Python is that when you import a package, and if that package also has imports, it recursively imports every single module down the tree. So with a complex application like Jupyter AI, when we were importing it, it would also import all of its dependencies, which was a very large list because it's a very complex package. So what we investigated and ultimately implemented in some of the sub-packages is this dynamic module loading strategy. So basically, it turns out you can just override the way that Python imports modules in different packages. And you can do it in a way where instead of loading every single import inside of a file, it can just find the specific object that you need and just load that. So we've drastically reduced the amount of packages to import. And another way that we had, another way of improving the import time was to migrate towards light LLM instead of LangChain as our AI model abstraction. And basically that's like a kind of a complicated thing, but basically like these light LLM and LangChain, they both provide Python APIs for calling a diverse array of models using the same syntax. So that's how JupyterNaut is able to allow for up to 1,000 different language models and foundation models to be used to power the JupyterNaut agent. We rely on a library for that. And previously with LangChain, for every single new AI model provider, like let's say OpenAI or Anthropic, you would have to install a new package called LangChain Anthropic or LangChain OpenAI to get access to that model. We've since migrated to Light LLM, which uses the OpenAI APIs to which many model providers implement. They simply just use that API instead. And as a result, they can call all of these different language model providers and services using a more minimal set of dependencies. So basically, dynamic module loading and also just reducing the number of modules we're loading greatly improved the performance there.
How would you hope the community will use Jupyter AI as the project continues and matures?
Yeah, so I think one of the hopes that we have is that with the split of, building modularized components of Jupyter AI, we hope that there will be more community members who will start using them to create different AI experiences. So one example could be that there's a lot of focus on the chat experiences for AI, but with this new model, they can actually build AI experiences which are not chat focused. They can build experiences directly in the notebook or cells, and so we are hoping that that the developers will pick these different packages and build those AI experiences in different forms. And so with that, we also hope that they will start contributing to more packages that some of these AI assistants might need.
What is the community like around Jupyter AI? What is the how large is it? How active is it?
Yeah, great question. We have representatives from multiple organizations. So one of them is obviously AWS because we work for them, but we also have representatives from Quansight and Apple. And we've also been in touch with some other stakeholders across the industry at Meta and Netflix and things like that. But as a rough contributor count right now, the Jupyter AI Contrib organization, we have about something on the order of 10 members, but we are definitely looking to grow that community as time evolves, especially now that we have implemented a framework for these AI personas to be loaded dynamically. We're really envisioning a future where multiple contributors from multiple organizations are creating their own AI personas and bundling them and publishing them to the broader open source community. And
Well, what are some of the things that the community is asking for the next for version 4 for the future?
I think we're still sort of learning new things about what different domains and different developers need. So, for example, there's this new interest in building observer personas where you don't have to initiate a persona from the chat, but you can build a persona where it's automatically looking at a notebook that you're working on, and then it can assist you, when you move away from that or move away from a cell. So that's one new interest that we have seen. So there will be work in that. But in general, we are looking for people to start using more and more of these packages so they can come to us and tell us what makes sense as a part of this, building this as a community package. We also have a sprint that is scheduled for tomorrow to discuss more about this, where we'll have discussions around what packages make sense, what are the key features that people need, and how can we have more contributors contributing to these as well.
How if someone is listening to this or watching this and they want to get involved in the Jupyter AI community, how should they go about it?
I would recommend that they open a discussion on the Jupyter AI Contrib org. So we are all inside of that org. We're all collaborating there, chatting, and we're very open to new people just dropping by, leaving us a note, even if it's like, it can be anything really. Like if they're like, I just spoke with a guest who attended the Jupyter AI talk, and they were showing me their new this custom user interface they had built for Jupyter Chat, which has a few areas that are much richer than what we have. And I invited them to contribute just by opening a discussion. That's the best way to reach out to us, and it's the best way to get any conversation started.
Yeah. And so I want to add to that, it's not just the discussion, so you can always open issues or PRs of specific things that you need. We also have a weekly community meeting, which is an open meeting, and you can come in and ask questions about something that you're working on, or if you want to showcase something that you would like to show others, you're welcome to join that community meeting.
And they would connect on the forum on the not on GitHub, but on a Jupyter Project Jupyter website?
Yeah, great question. So, I mean, the reason there's so many different ways to reach out to us is because Project Jupyter, we work across multiple channels. We work on GitHub. We work on the other main application we use to chat with each other is this one application called Zulip. Highly recommend it. It's really cool.
Zulip.
Yeah, Zulip. Yeah, Zulip.
Okay.
And that's another way to reach out to us. Or you can send us an email directly. Like there's many options, and Jupyter contributors, I will just note this, Jupyter contributors use every single one. Like I get direct messages on Zulip, I get direct emails, I get GitHub issues and discussions. Like feel free to use whichever one you feel makes the most sense.
Excuse me. So what's up next for Jupyter AI? What do you see as the roadmap in the near future?
I'd say the first point that I would personally love to see Jupyter AI evolve into is to first create an ecosystem of AI personas. So one of the key distinguishing features of Jupyter AI is the fact that multiple personas are available in chat. And that doesn't just mean that users are given freedom to pick which AI persona they want to use. It also allows for multi-agent collaboration. So we can imagine a future where there's some kind of general high-level persona that a user always uses. And that persona can actually dispatch requests to other more specialized agents, like, for example, a data science persona, software engineer personas, QA tester persona, something like that. And actually orchestrate it just like a software manager, right? Like instead of just having access to a team, instead of having access to just one agent, imagine having access to a team of agents. That's a big milestone that I am really looking forward to reaching with Jupyter AI.
What about you?
So I think one more thing that we are going to work on is making sure that these components that we have, with the split, we continue working on them, making them more robust and more production ready, so that many other contributors can start using them, and in turn then start contributing to them based on their AI assistant needs.
May I add one last thing?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. There's one more big thing on the roadmap, which is we're exploring more robust and intuitive human AI interactions. What I mean by that is what we found is that the AI landscape has sort of fixated on using chat as a medium to communicate with a language model, which makes sense. They're language models. They only take text. However, what we're finding is that these latest language models, especially when given tools to automatically retrieve context, we found that language models can be more than just chatbots. We found that language models we have some internal prototypes where a language model is actively watching the user make edits to their file or notebook and can proactively make suggestions to that user. So under the traditional model, the human's always the first person sending the message. The human is always the one starting every thread. The human's the one invoking a language model. And we want to challenge that paradigm and explore new ways of interacting where what if you had a persona that just automatically knew what needs to be done? What if you had a persona that could watch you write a notebook, see when you made an error, and then automatically correct that error and send you a message and say, hey, look, I saw you ran into this bug. Like, here's a fix. Like, we think that would be very incredible. And we're a big priority for us is to investigate that further. Yeah.
Pretty exciting stuff. What about scaling? Like we definitely hear that one thing with agents is that a lot of people are still not quite using them in production, because scaling issues is part of the issue. What about have you looked at that issue?
Scaling with respect to what? I'm just very
scaling in respect to, if you have if you're running these in an enterprise, if you're running these in a large organization, I think that
those scaling problems, ideally they would be abstracted underneath the they would be abstracted by the API provided by the model service that you're using. So for example, this could be Amazon Bedrock, Anthropic, OpenAI. Ideally, ultimately agents are just calling language models with a set of tools. That's at the most fundamental basic concept of an agent is it's a language model that can call functions, and the developer defines those functions. So I would say most of the scaling issues should be solved at that layer. However, we have seen other enterprises that are trying to deploy their own local models, and in that case, you can't really rely on upstream API changes because they are the upstream API. So for those users, there are a couple of different options, but one of them is to have like a middleware proxy service. So for example, LiteLLM, they have this package called LiteLLM Proxy, which is a proxy server that forwards the requests to the underlying language model. And this proxy server can also track how many requests are being made and perhaps ultimately auto scale the number of language model servers running to meet user demand.
I think I agree with what David said. So I think we are right now focusing more on the core layers of how people will compose these layers into their own agents. And so that's where the persona concept comes in. We are building the default persona, which is the Jupyter Node persona, but it's mostly geared for your day-to-day tasks within the notebook. And it's a lightweight agent, which is geared more towards making it fast and responsive. And so we are not focusing on the other enterprise-specific scaling parts of this at this time. But I think with with more developers coming in and starting to use and develop more personas, I think we might come into those problems and we might tackle it at that time.
Okay. Well, I think that's a good place to end our conversation. It's been great talking to both of you, Piyush Jain and David Q. Thank you very much for coming in.
Thank you
from AWS. And this has been. Want to thank all of you for joining us as well. This has been Heather Joslin from the New Stack for the New Stack Makers on the road at JupyterCon in San Diego. We'll see you next time.
If you like this video, please give us a thumbs up. And if you'd like to see more videos like this, you can always subscribe to our YouTube channel. We're on all the major social media platforms. You can always find us at thenewstack.io. We hope to see you soon.